While phones' TV cameras focused on the evolving title battle at the front of the Hungarian Grand Prix, further back, the drama was just as intense. The Red Bull car was brutally exposed, with Liam Lawson finishing ahead of Max Verstappen in a Racing Bull, an upset that few saw coming. Further up the grid in 6th place was Gabriel Bortoleto, whose third points finish in 4 races is sending his reputation into the stratosphere. On either side of him, the Aston Martins of Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. For much of the 2025 phone season, Aston Martin had looked completely out of contention, dead in the water, with no real hope of scoring points. But something's changed. Over the last few races, their fortunes have turned. Alonso has now scored points in 6 of the last 7 races. Stroll in the points in 2 of the last 3. And in Hungary, they delivered their best performance of the season, so good in fact, that it left Alonso genuinely concerned. In today's video, we're diving into why Fernando Alonso is worried about how well he performed in Hungary, why Aston Martin are boycotting Sky Sports, and the legal battle they just won against Ferrari. So buckle in and don't go anywhere. Music. Fernando Alonso secured his and Aston Martin's best result of the 2025 season last weekend at the Hungaroring, taking 5th place. Alongside teammate Lance Stroll's 7th place finish, Aston Martin jumped from 8th to 6th in the Constructors' Championship thanks to their 16-point haul. Alonso's race was a masterclass in tire management. His opening stint on the medium compound was all about precision. After Lando Norris overtook him on lap 3, Alonso deliberately dropped his pace by over a second per lap to make a one-stop strategy viable. Even though he wasn't the fastest, he managed his pace so effectively that Gabriel Bortoleto in the Sauber behind couldn't get close enough to attack. Some drivers earn the nickname the Minister of Defense, but Alonso, he is the master of defensive driving. After eventually pitting for hard tires on lap 32, Alonso rejoined in 5th place, right behind reigning world champion Max Verstappen's Red Bull. But Verstappen made a second stop on lap 48, rejoining in 9th behind Liam Lawson. With fresher tires and 8 cars to pass, Red Bull expected a charge. Alonso's race engineer Andrew Vizard told him to increase engine power, worried Verstappen would close the gap. But Alonso had other plans, saving his power boost for the very end, just in case he had to defend against the Red Bull. As it turned out, Verstappen never got close. He languished in 9th place, making no progress. "Beautiful, beautiful," Alonso said over the radio as he crossed the line. 16 points, isn't it? Good at driving, good at maths, Vizard quipped. Nice way to go into the summer. Absolutely, Alonso replied. Thank you guys. We need 4 or 5 of those. It was a fantastic result for a team that's been struggling all year. Sure, Hungary is a bit of an outlier. Its high downforce demands play to specific car strengths, but the team had every reason to be proud. If you want proof of how much the AMR25 favors high downforce circuits, just compare qualifying between Hungary and Belgium the week before. At Spa, one of the lowest downforce tracks, Aston Martin locked out the back row of the grid, but at Hungary, one of the highest, they locked out the 3rd row. While the circuit may have helped, even the team was shocked by the outcome. Alonso admitted, "It is a surprise. Definitely it is a surprise. It's a nice surprise. The good thing is that we were competitive and we were fast. The concerning thing is that we don't know why. That mystery has left the team with work to do before the summer shutdown." Alonso continued, "We need this week at the factory to analyze exactly what are the differences between Spa and Hungary. What are the differences on the car as well, on the setup, on the aero devices that we were racing with?" He pointed specifically to the new front wing debuted in Hungary. If that front wing gives us that much performance, that's very good news. But I think that has to be understood at the moment, as Phone prepares to return for the Dutch Grand Prix on August 31st at Zandvoort. Aston Martin will be hoping their high downforce performance in Hungary wasn't a one-off, even though they still don't fully understand why it worked. But while Hungary brought plenty of positives for Aston Martin, it also brought one major negative: the team's decision to boycott Sky Germany. But before we dive into that, if you're enjoying the video and want to stay updated with more phone news and analysis, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Phone Reverse. It really helps the channel out. Thanks so much. Music. So, why did Aston Martin boycott Sky Germany during the Hungarian Grand Prix? It all centers around one man, controversial pundit Ralf Schumacher. Throughout the entire weekend, Aston Martin refused all interview requests from the broadcaster, including a scheduled interview with team principal Mike Crack. Why? Because the team feels Sky Germany, and Schumacher in particular, show little interest in covering Aston Martin unless it's to criticize. Schumacher has frequently taken aim at the team and at Lance Stroll specifically. His most recent jab? Claiming Stroll had a bad upbringing. Schumacher's style has drawn fire for years. He's been accused of inventing rumors, delivering over-the-top criticism with no factual basis, and chasing sound bites over substance. Sky Germany has also been largely absent from Aston Martin's scheduled media events, giving the team almost no coverage, and Aston Martin has had enough. They're not the first to push back. Guenther Steiner once refused to speak to the channel for nearly a year after Schumacher's relentless criticism of Haas's handling of Mick Schumacher. Christian Horner also stepped away from Sky Germany interviews for a time. Now, the Silverstone squad wants to send a clear message. They won't tolerate being insulted, ignored when they're struggling, and then expected to give interviews when they're doing well. Schumacher and presenter Peter Hardenack tried to address the situation on air in Budapest. "I know they're not giving us any more interviews because they don't like us that much at the moment," Schumacher said. Hardenack added, "We were a bit too critical of the people at Aston Martin, but let's be honest, those statements were far from apologies, and they certainly won't be enough to appease team owner Lawrence Stroll." Fortunately for Lawrence Stroll, while he's been dealing with media drama, he's also had some good news. Music. Aston Martin has finally resolved the long-running legal dispute surrounding their new chief technical officer, Enrico Cardile. The Italian, formerly Ferrari's chassis technical director, signed with Aston Martin last summer, but Ferrari took legal action to block his start date. That's all changed. A statement from Aston Martin on Monday read, "We're pleased that a resolution has been found and that Enrico can move forward with the team as we look to 2026 and beyond as our chief technical officer leading our design and technology functions at the AMR Technology campus." The legal process in which Enrico had been engaged in Italy has now been resolved, and Enrico is working at Silverstone. We don't know exactly what the resolution entailed, but chances are a hefty payment from Aston Martin to Ferrari helped move things along. Cardile will now work under managing technical partner Adrian Newey, who joined the team in March after leaving Red Bull. Newey has been leading the development of the 2026 car and the start of Aston Martin's new partnership with Honda for power units. Still, Cardile's arrival is later than Aston Martin would have liked. Combined with Newey's delayed start and a new factory that only began coming together earlier this year, Aston Martin's preparations for the 2026 regulations have been far from smooth. But there's hope. With recent on-track improvements, the arrival of two of the most influential minds in phone and custom Honda engines in development, the team might just be turning the corner. They've got the ingredients to become a top team, but the big question is, can they actually pull it off under the new 2026 regulations? And what's your take? Were you surprised by Aston Martin's performance in Hungary like Alonso was? Do you support the team's decision to boycott Sky Germany? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to support the channel directly, check out our merch store at phoneaverse.com to grab some sweet phone-inspired gear. Until next time, drive safe, and bye for now.